But now I think it's your turn. I'm going to get into the final segment of the podcast. I call it Beneath the Accent, where I'm going to ask a couple of questions. You can answer them in one word or a sentence or howsoever you feel like. The idea is just to know a little bit more about you. So, what advice would you give to your younger self and at what age?
Oh, is not be afraid, not
Hmm.
be afraid. Just kind of embrace whatever is happening around you and know that you can conquer it and you can get through it.
Okay, love that. What's your go to comfort food?
Oh, again, it depends on my mood. Usually it's Indian food because I grew up with it and I love it, or I should say
Hmm.
Pakistani food, which is kind of similar in some ways. But then I
Yeah.
also like pizza. So
Hmm. Who
yeah,
doesn't?
who
Who
doesn't,
doesn't, right?
right?
Do you have any hidden talents?
Oh, I don't know about how much is hidden. When I was younger, I was taking piano lessons. And I went
Hmm.
up until I think grade 4, grade 5, but then I had to stop due to situations that my life at the time, and then I never went back to it. But
Hmm.
I kind of do. That's one of my regrets is not following through with that. But
Hmm.
there's that, and then just I do like to cook as well.
Hmm.
So I'm not a great cook, but I do like to cook and experiment and try different things. And
Hmm.
my writing, I'm always inspired by people's stories, and this is what drives me to do
Hmm.
more of the legacy writing in people. It's
Hmm.
something that I never even knew I had,
Hmm.
but I just try my best and put my heart and soul into it, and
Hmm.
it just it feels so good when I have the story done for someone.
Yeah. What about chocolate? You don't
Oh
like baking?
my gosh, you hit my weak spot. Chocolate is everything to me. I love chocolate.
Okay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm,
Chocolate comes first.
okay. Any best piece of advice that someone ever gave you?
People are always giving me advice. Oh, and that's another good point to note is sometimes, when you're looking for advice, and if you ask 10 different people the question, you will get 10 different answers.
Hmm.
What I have recently learned is, take the advice, listen to what people have to say to you, but only pick the right things that suit you.
Hmm.
Don't do everything that everybody's telling you because it's going to drive you
Absolutely.
crazy and it's going to overwhelm you. So listen to what they have to say and just pick one or two things that really make sense to you. And that's the piece of advice that somebody gave me
Hmm. Love that.
recently,
Yeah.
as recent as just a couple of months ago.
Okay.
The best piece of advice is listen, but do what feels right for you.
Yeah. Okay. If you could describe yourself as any creature, what would it be?
Oh, any creature. I would have to say I love horses and dolphins. For some reason, I don't
Okay.
know. I'm just in love with those two animals. And
Okay.
yeah, that's how I would describe myself as having that kind of a spirit.
Okay. So, who's your go-to person now?
I have a really good network of people who some of them are I've met through LinkedIn.
Hmm.
Some very close friends and family. So they are who I go to for, if it's business advice, someone who is, I'm, I go to people who are level headed, because
Hmm.
sometimes I want to do everything and I want to do it really fast. And I'm not patient. I'm really impatient and I want to get things done. And uh, I'm really bad with technology. Technology does not work with me. So I always go to people who calm me, people who are very
Hmm.
have a very steady sense of being. Those are the people who I go to for help.
Okay. Is there something you recently bought and you now regret?
I try not to. I try not to spend too much money, but there's always things, like this online shopping is really
Hmm.
really uh, addictive, and you tend to buy something online and then it doesn't look good when it comes in the mail, or it doesn't fit right. So those are things that I regret doing. Yes.
Okay. What's the most expensive thing you would like to own?
If I could just travel everywhere forever, that's what I would like to do. That's where I would spend my money is travel.
Hmm. So like free tickets.
Free tickets, yes.
Okay. What's that one Canadian tradition that you have adopted wholeheartedly and something that you have introduced to Canadians?
The one thing that I can say that I've adopted from Canada is Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
It's become an
Yeah.
annual tradition now where we get together with family, and you cook the turkey and you have all the trimmings, and it's more about really using that day to be thankful for everything in your life, your health, your
Hmm.
loved ones. And I love, we've had this family tradition where we rent cottages up on Rice Lake,
Hmm.
which is close by,
Hmm.
not too far from where I live. And we've been doing this. We've been renting these cottages for the past maybe over 20 years, even 25
Wow.
years. Yeah. And we go there every Thanksgiving for that long weekend, and we take up the turkey and we spend time with each other. We roast marshmallows out on the fire pit. We
Hmm.
sing songs. We tell stories. We
Wow.
just
Sounds
talk. We
fun.
talk. And this has become so meaningful, and we all look forward to it every year. And it's really, we take time to really give thanks for everything great in our lives. And that's
Hmm.
something that I love to pass on to other people as well, is always take time to be thankful, because no matter how hard life can seem sometimes, there's always something to be grateful for.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Do you have any favorite Canadian slang or a phrase?
Oh, you know what? I know we say the word a lot. It's
Hey.
like, hey,
Yeah.
a.
Can,
So
can you
that
use it in a sentence?
it's like, how's your day, eh?
I love that.
So yeah, I mean, there's you get caught up in these buzzwords too. Like buzzwords
Hmm.
are used all the time, like optimize and uh, I'm trying to think of words right now, but they're not coming to me. But it becomes part of your language, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Okay. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Superpower. Oh my gosh, like staying on a diet. If I could stay on a diet and exercise, that would be the superpower that I would want to have.
Okay. If you could create this one law that everybody has to follow, what would it be?
Just to accept people for who they
Hmm.
are and really help people. Seriously. I talk a lot about this on LinkedIn and my posts is to
Yeah.
support people, help people. If you see someone who's struggling, go up to them and say, how can I help you? I always ask that question of people that I meet is, how can I help you? Because I am so grateful for people who have helped me. And
Hmm.
I wouldn't be where I am today if people didn't reach out to me and say, Doreen, how can I help you with this? Because when you're starting a business, when you're running a business, there's a lot at play. How to set up your business, your logo, your
Hmm.
brand, everything that you need to do to get your business and be recognized and raise your awareness. It's not just you alone. There's just so many people who rally around you to help you. So
Yeah.
those are the people who I'm grateful for in my life is help other people, give back and
Mhm.
carry forward what other people have done for you.
Yeah. Okay. How would you describe Canada in one word or a sentence?
Oh, Canada is gosh, it's just so many things. The one word that came to mind right off the bat is beautiful.
Hmm.
That's the way, and I would describe it beautiful in terms of not just the landscape, the geography of it, the beautiful lakes and the mountains, and it's just so beautiful. But it's also beautiful for the multiculturalism. Like I know it's not always rosy. It's not always you know what's the word, milk and honey. The land of milk and honey
Hmm.
is what people always use, but we have to make it that way. We have to make it that way. So
Hmm.
I always encourage, like, if I come across a newcomer who's coming to Canada, it's like, what? Give of yourself to make it better. Don't expect things to be done for you. Don't expect things to be handed to you, because we all went through that, and you got to give just as much as you receive.
Absolutely. Well, I think you have articulated it perfectly. I love that. So, finally, if you could leave me, Doreen, with one piece of advice, what would it be?
Versus I would say don't stop, just keep going. Honestly, because the minute you stop, then you fail.
Hmm.
So don't stop, just keep going. Even though sometimes you will reach crossroad in your life, it's okay. It's
Absolutely.
part of living, right? Take a break, take a breather.
Hmm.
Sometimes we need to take a breather. And maybe that's something that we don't do very often is you have to
Hmm.
stop, you have to take a breath. Look around you and see the good things around you. See the good people
Hmm.
around you. And I always say when you give and when you help other people, you automatically get lifted up yourself. So those are two things that I would say to you instead of one, keep going and keep giving.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And finally, how would you describe your experience of being on the podcast today?
Oh, you know what? It was really refreshing. I love your questions. We had not rehearsed any of this. I didn't know
Yeah.
what questions you were going to ask me, but you got me thinking and even going back into my memory, which, you don't tend to think about these things every day, but you really made me
Yeah.
go back and think about things. And I think there's a lot of self realization that comes along with digging back into your memory as well because you're reminded of where you came from and all of the things that you have overcome. I recently did a post on LinkedIn. It's called "I Am Remarkable"
Remarkable. Yes.
because
Yeah.
I attended a workshop by this gentleman and whose name escapes me right now, and I feel really bad about that. But it's iamremarkable.org, and he reminded me and others on the workshop as well that you have to know why you are remarkable and really appreciate your skills, your strengths, and even the challenges that you've overcome because we tend to dismiss them. We tend to say, okay, I got to get through this, get over this hurdle, and then I'll be fine. But that
Hmm.
process of getting over that hurdle is what makes you remarkable. And it gave me a real good appreciation to listen to other people's stories. Some of them are really hard, like if you think you're having a bad time, believe me, other people may be having even a worse time. So those are good
Absolutely.
reminders for you to remind yourself about that life is about just, living and accepting and being.
Hmm. I love that. Life is about living and accepting and being. On that note, thank you so much, Doreen, for being on the podcast and adding value to me and to my listeners. Thank you.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time, Grasses. And I hope if, whoever's watching this podcast finds inspiration, finds hope, and, know that there's help and you're not alone.
Absolutely. Love that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.